name is Casey.
I'm Kieran.
And we just finished our first year of medical school, and we've been involved with a lot of M1 orientation things and just talking to a lot of first years. And they've been asking us similar questions, and a lot of it has circled around what we wish we knew after first year, like what we do differently and stuff along those lines. And since we've been getting similar questions, we thought we would just make a video about it. Just a disclaimer, we are only second year students, so what works for us might not work for other people, and this is just our own opinions. Like, it's not facts or anything like that. It's just whatever we think what worked for us, and then we wanted to just share that with y'all.
I was talking to a couple first years the other day, and they were asking me the same thing. How do you have free time, or did you have free time? I was told you had 1 free hour per week or something like that. And I told them, first thing is you really have your own experience. For me personally, once I understood the fact that medical school was hard, like, I know it's going to be hard. It shifted my focus a little bit. Like, I was no longer focused on the fact that something is hard. I was focused more on like, okay, how can I balance these things? How can I work out here and have a free hour to watch a TV show or movie or something like that? I wasn't so much focused on this is really hard. I was more focused on let's find a way that we can accommodate these things in a day.
I agree with that. Coming into medical school, you have all these expectations about it being like super hard. You're gonna be losing your life, everything like that. But I kind of had that mindset coming in, but I think after going through a year, balancing things really helps with your mentality and helps you get through like all the hard parts. Especially we had like a really difficult block, but because like we had like our workout schedules and we started investing in things like friendships outside of medicine and just making time for things, it really helped us do better in school, I feel.
I feel like they're intertwined. Like, having fun and having friendships allowed me to do well in school. I progressively got used to how things were run in medical school, and I think I'm doing the things I love. Like, I didn't stop because of medical school. I still played tennis, I still went out, worked out, hung out with friends, and I think that really feeds into like more motivation to do better in school. Yeah.
So number 2, I made more time to travel, and he especially has made a bunch of time to travel, because I realized after first semester that you won't really get that much time once you like get through medical school. You start clinicals, then residency happens, you have to take off, and then you're gonna start working. Like, it doesn't stop. So especially during your first couple years of medical school, when you have like spring break or Christmas break or whatever, I definitely made time to travel and just do things outside of my normal day-to-day life. Like, don't just like sit home and relax. I went to New York a couple times. I don't usually go, but like he went to like Vegas this weekend, you went to like Mexico randomly, like,
yeah,
he does so much.
Med school's rough and it's tough and it's hard, of course. Like, it made me value free time a lot more. Even if I'm given 2 hours of free time now, I have more fun within those 2 hours than I did when I had like 4 hours of free time last year. Sometimes you have to make those impulsive decisions and just have fun a little bit. You're always gonna study, you're gonna study every day. So I think like when you can have fun, you should do that too. Those are moments that you'll remember.
As long as you have your end goal in mind, that you just have to get through these amount of lectures eventually, get your timeline together, just know that when you focus, you have to focus, that you can make time for a lot more things than you did in undergrad.
I realized a lot of the advice I got from people, I didn't really apply it because it just didn't apply to me. Like, it had nothing to do with me. Their study strategies were different. Their time management skills were either better or different. It didn't match up with me, so I had to kind of make my own experience and just weigh in a little bit of everybody's advice.
Whenever I started, I heard like a bunch of different study strategies, and I was just so nervous that I wanted to just try everything. And you do have to take advice with a grain of salt. Everyone's different, everyone studies differently, like what works for you. So you just have to try things, and whatever feels right to you, stick with it, and don't give in to like the peer pressure of, oh, everyone's studying this way, because in the end, like, your brain's different, so if you study a certain way, you don't need to force it to learn a different way, but it's not helping.
A lot of it can be daunting too. Sometimes you'll just hear things like, and it's very common in medical school, because like when I entered medical school, for example, I just felt like everybody was smarter than me. Everyone just had time management down, right? And so often I felt like people were just throwing out words and concepts that I had no idea about. I learned that it was important just to like kind of stay calm, stay still. You're always gonna hear things that you don't know. Like, you're never gonna be the person to know everything. So I know I wasn't. I think advice is good, but you also have to weigh out what you can actually use. What are their circumstances versus yours? Sometimes it's just not applicable.
And then that brings me to our next point of don't compare yourself to others. I know it's easier said than done. Like, I'm also guilty of this. Especially during second semester, I got better about, I'm my own person, I have my own goals. What other people are doing aren't gonna affect it. And you have to remember that some people came from 5 gap years, they did like all this stuff before they started medical school, and then some people like went straight into medical school. So you don't have that time to build all these extra characteristics that other people might have. Like, I know some people, they had all this like mission work done, and I was like, wow, I haven't done any of that. But it's because they were like 7 years older than me. So like, they had time to build those experiences. So you can't compare yourself. just because you didn't do something that someone else did. So just keep that in mind.
I do that all the time. Like I know I still do that to this day, and to an extent there's a healthy level of being able to do that, just to kind of like for me and you, like, hey, did you do this yet, or did this help you? And that's good because like we know that kind of like what we're capable of doing. But sometimes it can be too much where it's like you're just comparing yourself to like someone you shouldn't be comparing yourself to, and it lets you down and you perpetuate this really bad spiral of negativity. I think if it's like instrumental to you and you can have like a healthy level of comparison that you can be better and it's attainable, then it's good, but too much is just
I agree.
not worth it.
It won't get you like anywhere mentally. It'll just make you worse and maybe like impact how you could be doing.
So like what do you think you would tell people entering medical school helped you kind of make it more manageable?
I think just keeping the mentality of that you're never going to know everything. And I think first semester I was very set on like doing the same thing that I did in undergrad, where I just like read through notes, knew everything on PowerPoints, and that would just give me like A's on every test. But in medical school, it's just so much information. And even if you don't think that's true when you initially start, you're kind of like skeptical, like, yeah, I'll study every day, like I'll make time for it. But it's just not possible to know everything. There's just so much. And trying to know everything, like all the little details, is just going to make you more stressed. That's what makes it unmanageable. But if you think about the big picture things, about how you're gonna have to know these certain diseases because they come up often, but you're not gonna have to know like a specific protein and like some really rare disease, like don't like hone in on that so much where you can make time for all these bigger important concepts. Once I realized that, I was able to like retain more and like learn more and just like deal with like the amount of material a lot better personally.
So for us, our pre-clerkship or pre-clinicals are 18 months, and I know that some schools even have it for 12 months, but commonly it's 2 years. That you need to realize like there's only so much that a curriculum can fit into like 18 or 24 months, that when you're studying, it's important to really focus in on that first time, on that first pass of information. The more you get into the specifics and like details that you don't need to know, you'll lose scope of like what's actually important. So what I did was I would just try my best not to get too like into the details of the information we learned, because if you kind of go too much into the weeds of it, you have like 3 lectures you're already behind on. So at a point when I used to struggle with time, because we used to spend like, I don't know, at least 45, 60 hours a week in anatomy lab, right?
Oh yeah.
That's like in the anatomy lab dissecting. So you're not really studying, you're more reinforcing information. But when you're studying stuff, like, okay, I need to grab as many like high yield concepts and move on, because you can always build onto pillars of knowledge, but you can't build backwards. Like you can't know details and build backwards.
Yeah. And I didn't know what high yield meant when I was a pre-med, but high yield basically just means like the bigger picture things that are commonly tested, commonly seen, the things that will most likely show up on STEP, compared to like all the little details that you're gonna try to know, but you'll probably forget them after a couple of years.
It's not hard material like to kind of digest. It's just the volume and pace at which it comes at you. It's just kind of hard to manage. But once you get over that, you realize like you can stay calm when you forget stuff. If you're gonna forget it, just reinforce it. One more thing I wish I knew was that it is okay to not do as well as you want to do when you enter medical school. I've failed exams before, and I think I still did pretty well in the class. You measure your performance and your intelligence sometimes. You shouldn't, I don't think you should do intelligence based off of exam grades, but I think we do naturally. I didn't know what a histology slide looked like, but I think I wish I knew that it was okay. Like in that moment when I didn't get the best grade on a certain exam, you can bounce back, you can seek help. Like you can definitely go to tutoring or look for some online resources. Even if medical school is coming at you really fast and you feel like you're at the bottom and that, you know, you go through the spiral of comparing yourself to others, it's okay. I think I needed to like reset a little bit, like just take a step back and I look at the situation from a different lens rather than just going through it and just getting pummeled by like information. It was gonna be okay, and that like you can bounce back after not doing well on a single exam. We were very hard on ourselves. Like medical students are very hard on themselves. So yeah, so that's pretty much all. I hope at least a couple of these things cool your nerves and like help you out a little bit entering medical school. It's no easy task, but it's also a really good time to make friends that you're gonna keep for the rest of your lives. Like we should encourage students to just have as much fun as they can possibly have in that limited amount of time.
Yeah, still doing your work. Like it's manageable, and I wish like if I had seen like a video like this that give this type of advice, I feel like I would have gone about my first year a lot differently and have been able to enjoy more and have like less of a mental toll for as long as I did. Hope y'all enjoy!